Trent, probably just a patch maybe in that second quarter, maybe just didn't get you over the line today.
Yeah, probably. Red time in the second quarter, where I think it was 3 goals to zip. So yeah, it's probably a couple of patches today where they were able to kick consecutive goals where we weren't able to answer. I think it was those 3 before half time, and then I think it was 2 goals there at one stage in the third quarter, which then started to put us on the back foot, and we were chasing a little bit of tail, but really pleasing how we fought the game out and played today.
Yeah, you think you kicked 4 goals in the first quarter, held Lonnie to I think 4 points. Was it important to get that early good start after last week's? I think Lonnie kicked 6 early last week. Was it important to get the start good to that?
Yeah, I think it's something we've identified over the course of the year. Our first quarters haven't generally been great. I think we've won 3 first quarters this year before today, and those were the 3 games that we won. So again, we changed a little bit of our warm-up, a little bit of our timeline. So hopefully we found something that worked today, which we'll try and take into next week and then next year. But yeah, getting a start is really crucial. So it's definitely something that we've got to really address and get right.
Yeah, no doubt the boys went in with a lot of belief at half time that they could come out and really match it and get over the line in that last half. Yeah,
it's good to see their disappointment, firstly at the end of the game, but also at half time about letting red time slip there. So, we've put some focuses in place in the back end of the year that we want to be a good red time team, whether that's limiting score or scoring ourselves. So, that was probably one that we let slip. And, the boys were pretty disappointed. Still came in half-time 4 points up. So, there's definitely belief that what we can play and the way we set up match well with them because, we had that last time against Lonnie. So, but yeah, unfortunately their class showed through at the end when they were able to get some consecutive goals, and we probably let ourselves down. Not with effort stuff, a little bit of ball use and a little bit of polish, which we're still learning.
Yeah, I thought that fourth quarter, you were still right in the game, a few unforced turnovers. I think there was a few where you kicked out of the back line, the Blues just built a wall and it just forced it back to them.
Yeah, they set up really well behind the football in the last quarter. I think so much of the game today, if you win that territory battle and get it in, and they were able to lock it in, but not just lock it in with their forward pressure, but lock it in with repeat entries. Like, when you're under pressure and you look up and there's nothing but blue jumpers and not many black and yellow ones, we kicked it straight to them a lot, and that's full credit for them for setting up well defensively behind the ball, and good learning for us to play in that sort of situation environment. So next time, we can look at the video from the game and see how we did that and train for it as well, and that's part of our learning for our group.
Yeah, is that something you really enjoy with the boys during the week? You'll sit down and watch the vision and see where you went wrong in that last quarter? Yeah,
we'll identify scenarios, how we can better close out games, just little things, identifying who the most dangerous one is to take away some ball movement and those sorts of things, to take ball movement away from an opposition, and just identifying those scenarios, and we're pretty open and honest when we review games. We look at them, and all our boys, they want to get better, they want to learn. So, and that's an important part of it, is seeing against good teams what they do well and how we can implement that in our own game or do that better next time that we play them.
Yeah, I thought young Polar's job on Timmy Auckland was outstanding. I thought he only kicked one really late, and I thought in the one-on-one battles he probably had him for the day. Yeah,
well, I think that was Will's 3rd senior game for this year or his career. He's been killing them in the Mercury Cup, playing in the ruck. Like, he was by far the best on field in Merc Cup last week. We wanted to re-expose him to some senior footy at the back end of the year, but we chucked it at him because of the way Lonnie is structuring up now, with Leadham a little bit more forward, with Auckland a little bit more forward. So we needed that extra tall defender, and Will's super athletic, so he's got good closing speed. So he'd never played down back before in his life, so some really good on the job training for him, and we'll expose him again, and he's a really good ruckman and athletic around the ground. So we want to get some reps in him, potentially next week, playing in that area of the ground too.
Yeah, you sent Michael Reynolds back to Thorpe again after he got the job on him in round 13. Were you pleased with Michael's performance on Thorpe?
Yeah, I think Thorpe kicked 3, which is probably about 6 last week. 3. Mike would probably be dirty on that. He held him to 1 goal last time, but especially late, if they're going to keep getting repeat entries, it makes it hard on our backman. If you give Mitch Thorpe plenty of one-on-ones and looks at it, and Dylan Riley, even when he goes forward, they're eventually going to break you. And I think, I thought Michael did a fantastic job. I think he looks forward to those sorts of matchups. So hopefully we've uncovered a player there that can do those roles for us going forward in the future.
Yeah, I thought your experienced guys probably were your better performance today, and I thought Will Campbell was probably your best performer. Marcus was good too. Hugh Johnson's pretty good on the ruck, and then Lukey Graham up forward again.
Yeah, I thought MD was outstanding behind the footy. When you look at our back line, it's really young. I think MD obviously is our experienced one there, but as he's been coming back from his PCL, like his ability to move laterally now, and he's starting to give us bounce, so which is really good off the back half, and he leads that group, and he was really good today. And Will Campbell just worked his tail off for the whole, and that's Will. Like everyone knows how Will plays. He's all one way. He's at one contest and he's rolling forward to the next one. He gives you everything he has. And the other guys you mentioned, Luke Graham he does really well getting the ball on ground. We like to isolate Bill in some one-on-ones, and because he's a pretty good player. So, and I thought Mitch Carter as well worked hard as a forward for us.
You've talked a lot about in the last few weeks how most of the playing groups re-sign for next year. They look like a pretty tight-knit group of guys. Is it pleasing that everyone's really committed to this club and they're ready to go for pre-season next year? Yeah,
absolutely. They're a great group of lads, and that was one of our main focuses. And we started that process a month ago. So, yes, at the end of the year you recruit, but you don't want to get caught up in that. First and foremost, you've got to reward and look after your own. And these guys have come together. They give us everything every week. So, we wanted to lock them away before, they start thinking about other things or other clubs or other competitions come calling. And it's just pleasing that they've all put pen on paper and they're committed to this. And, they're a really tight group. I think I said the other week, you walk down in the change rooms or you walk down there during the week, and it doesn't feel like a team that's won 3 games. They're always up. They've always got good vibes. So the fact that they're all sticking together, with obviously Carts going back home, which we knew that 2 years ago. So onwards and upwards, and we've still got a bit of work to do. We've got one more game. We've got to finish out well. We don't want to put the queue in the rack. So we'll go all at it give it everything for another 120 minutes next week, and then have a little bit of a spell, and then get ready to come back to work.
Sam, probably disappointed with the start today, mate, but all in all, happy to get the win?
Fantastic to get the win. I thought probably the first half we were sort of like the old Bilby in the headlights moment for half a game of footy, and then obviously the second half the boys come home and worked pretty hard and got the win across the line.
Yeah, I thought in red time that second quarter you probably got a bit of momentum back, and then what was the message at half-time in the rooms?
We basically replicated the last time we played then. I thought the game was very similar to 7 weeks ago, and the guys experienced that loss last time we played the Tigers down here, so I reflected on that to make sure that they were equipped to make a change for the second half of footy, and I thought in the end the guys ran out pretty well in that last quarter.
Yeah, it was probably important then to atone, obviously you said, for that loss in round 13. Was that spoken about during the week in the build-up?
Yeah, not from me.
Yeah.
I guess the playing group were well aware that it was one they let get away, and they certainly mentioned it a number of times that they wanted to fix what they felt was a mistake at the time.
Yeah. I thought your midfield worked pretty well after quarter time today. Are you happy with them as a collective?
Yeah, certainly. I agree. I think the first quarter we lost the clearances, which has been our strength in football. So from the second quarter onwards, I thought they were much better, and we got Sammy Rundle that went forward and provided another option down there as well.
Yeah, I thought Sam and probably Brendan Taylor and Mitch Thorpe up forward were probably your most live wire guys throughout the day.
Yeah, we kicked a lot of points today, so. Yeah. I think Brendan had maybe 3 opportunities in that second half to kick goals and kick 3 points. Mitch had some opportunities as well and missed the kick, and they were really good across the course of the game. I think they've got a lot more to give in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's obviously pleasing that you've come into a bit of form now. We've got one roster game left in the finals. Pleasing that you've hit form at the right time of the year. Yeah,
it certainly is. As a coach, you try and plan your year back in February in terms of training loads and roster and travel trips and bits and pieces. So we probably got that slightly wrong with those 4 games travelling to Hobart. Reflecting back on that, I thought that the bye week in between those 4 Hobart games was enough mental break and rest. And now reflecting back, I guess we were, as a coaching group, we were well aware that the mental fatigue in those 4 trips, even though there was a bye in there, was probably doing some damage from on-field performance in that 5-week block.
Yep.
I thought our 5th week we played North Launceston at home and lost by a point, and for all the games of footy I've seen in Tasmania, that was probably one of the best games to date I've seen in Tasmania. So even though it was a loss, I was pretty happy with that 5th loss on the trot.
Yeah, I think probably round 13 at down here was probably that when it was probably not rock bottom, but it was kind of a light switch moment. Then you faced up against Glenorchy. You lost by 50 points, but you spoke a lot post-game that was a really kind of pleasing performance, even though it's a loss, and then the week after against North Lonnie. I guess, is that, even though, you take 2 losses but you're still happy, does that show that the group's got a lot of resolve and resilience to fight back from where they were mid-season?
Yeah, 100%. We've got some great characters in our group. We've got some great talent that the state's well aware of when they play against us. The guys were able to experience that downtime, and round 13 we played here would have been at the bottom. It is rock bottom, and our guys are well aware of that. And leading into that Glenorchy game, we shifted a few things, and it was our 4th Hobart trip, and we just basically wanted to focus in on attitude and intensity. And on that day, even though we lost by 50, I thought we got that. I thought we got a side that generally wanted to be out there regardless of where we were travelling to. So that was the first step in the change. And then we get a Launceston game at UTAS Stadium the following week, and it was back. It was back on and good to go.
Yep. Joe Boyce played his 150th today. Got life membership for the club. He's obviously a pretty popular figure, considering the reception he got when he got Chet off the ground. Yeah,
Joey's he's one of those incredible characters. He just keeps giving and giving, and his heart and soul's in that football club. He joined when he was 18. He's been a part of the footy club. He's been a part of the ups and the premierships, and he's been a part of the downs, and sitting on bottom of the ladder and experiencing what it feels like to be beaten by 80 points. And now he's going back through the next cycle of being a contender through finals this year. So. I love Joe Boyce and what he brings to the football club as a player, as a person, and just as a general older guy within a footy club. He's what you look for as a coach in leaders.
I thought Chase Jones probably showed a few signs today at why he's such a highly rated junior, and he's probably a fair chance to get picked up in the national draft. Were you pleased with his performance?
Yeah, I think the word fair is probably certain.
Yep.
He's a super talent. He had 6 clearances to half time. His speed and his ability to read the footy was fantastic. His delivery was a little bit off today compared to previous weeks, but slightly different conditions, and it was looked like it wanted to rain but didn't want to rain, and he was fantastic again today, and he was best on ground for us in my opinion.
Yep, one more to go with Glenorchy next week up at home. Is it important to really strive to win that game by a lot, considering you need probably a bit of percentage to finish top 3, or just focus on the win? Yeah,
correct. I think for us it's just focusing on the process, and I said in the press conference midweek, I'm one of those coaches that the results and everything on the way will take care of itself. We'll finish where we deserve to finish, and then wherever that eventually is, we just then face the next challenge and go after that as hard and as appropriately as we can as a team and a club and a coaching group. So we roll out next week, we do our thing, and we focus on the process, and wherever that leads us is what we step into in finals, and we go after that again.
Yep. Can we expect to see you back either next week or in the finals, or are you more pretty happy with just coaching from the box?
Yeah, I think at this stage I've been training probably at about a 75% capacity, but at this stage I'm backing in the playing group, and we've got a very healthy list, and obviously our D-League won by a significant amount of points today, and sitting comfortable on top of the ladder. So for me it's about providing and creating an environment for those guys to continually stay engaged, even if they're not getting senior games, and for a senior coach to then put himself back in the team with limited games throughout the year and limited training, and at the back end of his playing career and more focused on a coaching career, that's a real moral issue as a coach and as a person, and I'm not willing to sit down with someone until I'm not playing because I'm playing, and at this stage the guys are doing well enough to play, and that allows me to coach them and get an extra 5 or 10% from them.
Yeah, is there anyone from that development league side pushing their case to maybe jump up and feature in the finals?
Yeah, without a doubt. Alex Wright, Jacob Boyd, Ethan Jackson will certainly be in amongst it. Matt Spon, Zach Oldenhoff is playing fantastically well. Just trying to think off the top of my head. There's Casey Brown is another one who played prelim final for us last year, so Casey's right there amongst it. There's generally 6 or 7 guys that Casey's a prime example, has played prelim final last year for the Launceston Footy Club, and he's playing development league footy at the moment and working on some extra craft, and so I certainly think through finals you lose players. Intensity goes up, contact gets harder, emotions get rawer and more amplified, so you're likely to get suspensions or injuries, or something's going to crop up. So I certainly expect we'll be drawing from that group, which is a good spot to be in, and it keeps those guys engaged. That finals dream is still there for them.
It's a pretty good sign of a strong footy club, isn't it, that you've got so many guys that are playing in the twos or the D-League that can kind of challenge the senior group to continue to perform each week. Otherwise, you don't perform, you might miss out 1 week.
100%, and that throughout our season this year, we've had to work through that. That provides a lot of management issues along the way, and certainly what we see in Tassie is you get a really strong sort of group of 15 players, and then the 15 to 22 can vary quite a lot, or can just be locked into that level of player. So we've got guys that are playing number 10 any given day, and then playing number 25 the next week, depending on performance. So. Most clubs wouldn't have to have that sort of feeling and have to work through that type of stuff, which we've had to this year, and manage those players and keep them engaged.